14th of February 2021. It's a Valentine's Day. There are plenty of Bitcoin lovers around, so the best wishes, and they are celebrating 50,000 on the Bitcoin versus USD, or almost 50,000. Very good morning, very good afternoon, evening, wherever you are. Piotr here, Slide Forex Global YouTube channel. Well, it's a very good week when it comes to the Bitcoin buyers. Hold 38,000 as a support, a strong move through 42, and we are testing 50k when it comes to the weekly chart. Some kind of the lines are gonna be important here, so let's place the previous week high as the first very important level of the possible demand. The next one is closer to 38,500, right? So that's the first line of the possible demand. If we are going to go back and close below this zone, right, we might see retest of the levels close to 28,500, 30,000, something we discussed quite some time ago. And well, that's how I see the things when it comes to the possible demand. When it comes to the supply, if you do remember, we did our measure and 55,000, that's where we might see some kind of the correction eventually. Well, it's an uncharted territory, right? And well, previous week Yellen and some officials from the Canadian Central Bank were trying to convince us that no, crypto are not good. But at the same time, we got the news from the Morgan Stanley, who is where the investment arm is considering 150 billion investment into the Bitcoin. So completely different stories. Also, soon MasterCard will allow users to pay using the Bitcoin. So uncharted territory, some kind of the 50-55 zone as possible supply, some kind of the correction, but I think it's not gonna be deep when it comes to the Bitcoin. As of now, levels close to 40,000, 41, 38, this zone as a demand when it comes to the weekly chart. When it comes to the daily chart, very similar situation. Well, this demand we discussed on the weekly is very well visible here on the daily chart. So eventually, medium term, this type of the pullback, and here there is a possibility to consider some movement to the upside with very tight stop, because as I mentioned, if we are going to break through, it could be retest and a little bit lower levels to the downside. That's how I see the Bitcoin on a daily chart. When it comes to the intraday chart, it's getting closer to what we said a second ago, that this 55k, it could produce some kind of the correction. It could be attempt to break higher. I'm talking about the chart only, some kind of the head and shoulder here and move eventually a little bit lower. Is it going to happen? I don't know, and I told you for quite many times that I wouldn't consider shorting Bitcoin right now. It's not a good time to try to catch the top, right? I wouldn't do that. Eventually, if you are looking for some opportunity to try to short some kind of the cryptos, maybe Ether at some point, but also not now, right? Because here, very nice move to the upside. And the previous week high is the most aggressive demand line right now, right? The previous week high, but I would say we have some more conservative levels down to 1,400, 1,250, right? I would say that's, from the weekly chart perspective, that's more conservative demand levels, something like something like this. If we are going to break through and close below, then we might reopen levels close to 930 and 800, right? So that's how I see the things here. So eventually, watching Ether from the weekly chart perspective, if we are going to see the close below previous week high, it could produce the quick pullback towards 1450 or even lower towards 1200. So let's have a look what we have from the daily chart here on the Ether. Okay, from the daily chart perspective, you may want to watch after the break. That was the break over here, right? You may want to watch some kind of the trend line, and eventually if we are going to break and close below, right, that's the previous week high. So if we are going to break, retest, that could be the eventually setup to be short. But again, here also this type of the setup is showing that from the conservative perspective, you don't want to chase the rising prices. You may want to wait for a little bit of the pullback. Of course, we don't know when the pullback will come, so that's the thing. Anyway, the next one I would like to check with you is a Litecoin with the dollar above 220. So also here we have a strong rally. Now the possible demand is around 180, and then down again based on the daily chart, down again to 161.50, 55, right? Okay, there you go. When it comes to the daily chart, and eventually, well, we doubled the range, right? So if we can agree that that was the latest range, right? So we almost doubled that range. So of course, it doesn't mean that we are going to immediately see the pullback, but eventually that's something you may want to look for. And taking into the consideration today's price action, we just moved back below yesterday high, so retest of the 180, 175, or even 50% of that consolidation, 145 could be eventually possible. So, well, let's switch lower to the intraday chart and let's have a look what we have. We have buyers around 200, and then again we have buyers around 180, right, from the intraday perspective. What about the sellers? Well, this last 4 hours looks for me a little bit topish, at least with the retest of 205, 200, right? So look and watch for Litecoin for possible pullback, especially if we are going to see something like broken fast trend line being broken, a retest, and for example 175, 180 to be tested. And the last one is a star Ripple, 60 cents, 61 cents. So again, looks like might be bullish again as long as above 52, 50 cents, right? That's how I see the things here. First possible supply around 68.70, so watch out for the price action around this highs. And here again, as long as we are above the trend line, right, we might see retest of this level and eventually break, retest, and continue to the downside. So as you see, depends on what kind of the outcome you're looking for. I would be very careful thinking about the shorting Bitcoin, but then for example, if the sentiment will turn around, Litecoin, Ripple, that's something to might be worth watching from the short side. But guys, as long as there is a positive sentiment towards the crypto market, it's going to be the challenge to try to be the winner on the short side. With that being said, wish you great rest of the Crypto Sunday. All the best. See you around. Take care and goodbye.